Hey, how you doing? It's Clayton Tini from the First Home Buyer Club. 100 lessons in 100 days, day six, lesson six. Today, what I'm going to talk about is buying a home when you currently have debts. So, firstly, just because you have debts doesn't mean you can't ever own a home, and it doesn't mean that you can't own a home in that current position. However, if you currently have debts, are only just getting by paying them and not saving money, then buying a home right now definitely isn't the right time. Understand the numbers and the types of debt you're getting into so you can make better decisions for your life. What I mean by that, obviously, same day loans, afterpay, zip money, all those ones that you get on the spot. I like to call them the type of emergency funding loans. They're not good, obviously, on your record. And when the banks assess it and see all these what I call emergency funds, when you've bought something now to pay for it in the future, when you have to get it straight away, it doesn't look good and it's frowned upon. Don mentioned it and covered off on yesterday in the recap that it's an automatic decline in the 95+% home loans and has to be reassessed. So just be careful when you are getting these loans and what you're getting yourself into. Credit cards. I get a few questions asked to me about credit cards. Are they good? Are they bad? I personally use credit cards for all my food shopping and everything that I do day to day. I also have my credit card linked up with auto transfer. And as a result, every 55 days or 50 days, I don't even know what it is. I think it's 55. The money comes straight out of my account and pays that credit card. I pay zero interest on that credit card. But as a result, I have the ability to keep all my money in my offset account, which when you get into a home means that I'm saving money on interest repayments without even doing anything. It's a little trick to stick by. Now, if you're just racking up money constantly on credit cards without paying it off, then that's a bad thing and you've got to actually pull it back a little bit. The other thing with credit cards is don't continue to increase the limits every time the bank sends out a letter saying, do you want to up it? There's some clients we've have got $10, $20, $30, $40,000 credit card limits, although they don't use it. Now, the problem is when it comes time for you to buy a home, the bank's got to assess it as you owe $40,000 on your credit card. It doesn't matter if you owe $100 or even $1,000 on that $40,000 limit. They've got to assess it as you may go out tomorrow and spend the whole lot. And how do you service and how can you financially buy a home if you owe the most? So just keep those limits down, especially if you don't use them. Keep them as low as possible, because when it comes time to being assessed for any financial purchase, they're going to look upon that. Don't be a debt junkie. What I mean by that is, and again, I was talking to a friend last night about this, especially, and I don't want to single any person out, but when we're younger, we want to buy everything and have everything and really look after the now and think that we need everything. And the problem is that some people will get in that habit of constantly having debt. And what I mean by don't be a debt junkie is don't buy that jet ski and over the next 3 years slowly pay it off. And when it's paid off, go, okay, what else can I buy now? And then go get the car or go get the motorbike or go get the entertainment system and put that on credit and then start again. Just because you're paying off a debt doesn't mean now you've freed up $400 a month that you can suddenly put onto another debt. If you don't have the cash, consider, do you really need it? Like, we go through that habit of just buy, and we want it now. But if you don't have the cash, why are you buying it? Like, let's be honest with it. Just because you've got that bit of plastic in your hand doesn't mean that gives you an automatic free pass to buy whatever you want. Be smart. It's your money, right? And you keep giving away to the banks on credit. How are you going to get ahead in life? The next thing is know your financial position and reassess it every 6 to 12 months. What I mean by that is that just because you get a credit card or a personal loan today doesn't mean that you've got to stick with that interest rate and that company for the rest of your life, right? You might find in a couple of years' time or 12 months' time, you got that small credit card that you owe money in. There's a company that's offering 0% interest, and you got to think to yourself, why do I want to give away all my money to the bank just to stay loyal to them? Because trust me, they want your money. They're not going to stay loyal to you once you stop giving them money. You make sure where's best for your money to go and how you can save more of it. And then the last point, I think I already covered this. If you don't have the cash, just really reconsider buying it at that point, because do you really need it? Now, leading up to buying a home and things that you need to understand. In the bank's eyes, and obviously this isn't one size fits all, but in the bank's eyes, they would much prefer you to have a bigger deposit than be debt free. And let me talk about that a little bit more, because obviously the banks ideally would love you to have as little debt as possible, right? But a lot of the time that with your current debts, you may be in a position to financially purchase what you want. Now, the best thing for you to do, instead of dumping all your cash into your debts to be debt free and then trying to assess or apply for a loan, is dump all that money into a savings. Because here's the thing, when you pay that debt off, you've got no ability to get that money back. If you put all that money into savings and then you assess it and go, you've got the ability to get better interest rates, more opportunities for banks and places you can go when you keep the money in savings, and you've still got the opportunity to pay off those debts. Just because you're dumping all your money into savings, you get to a position where you're about to purchase and then go, that your mortgage broker or bank, especially if a first-time home buyer, I would tell you that you really should be going to a mortgage broker. And there's a few reasons for that. Firstly, you go to a bank, you only have access to what that bank's products are. And a good example, I won't name the bank, but which bank? I bank with them. I've got my home loan with them, but they're not the best for a first home buyer, right? So I've had a Dolomite account since I was probably 3 or 4. I've always thought they're the way to go. Now, I obviously bought property when I was 19. I was lucky. If you're like that and with one bank your entire life and go to them and they say no, it doesn't mean that you can't own a home or you're not in a position. It just means that their products aren't the best suit for you. Go to see a mortgage broker. They'll be able to assess multiple banks. Some mortgage brokers have 30, 40, 50, 60 different options that could be available. Go see one, because they'll give you the best options for you and your circumstances right now. If it was me, I would put more money into savings than paying off the debt until you're in that position that you can make those decisions to buy. And then with the broker, you can assess, do we then dump money into our debts or utilize it towards savings for a deposit? Because here's the other thing. Like any debt, if it's a home loan, if it's a personal loan, if it's a credit card, just because you get it doesn't mean you have to keep it over its longest term. Once you're in the home, you work off paying off all those bad debts first, because they'll have the higher interest rate. The second thing, don't just buy a house for the incentives. Yes, there are a lot of incentives at the moment. $15,000 first home buyer grant, $25,000 home builder boost. No stamp duty up to $250,000 on land, which is probably saving you another $6,000. And then right now you have the ability to apply for the loan deposit scheme, commonly known as the low deposit scheme, and you can avoid mortgage insurance, which generally on around a $450,000 to $500,000 purchase would be somewhere around $15,000. Now that's a lot of incentives for a first home buyer, but if you can't afford to buy a home now, don't just buy it, because yeah, it's good to get money, but if you can't pay it back, then you're going to be back to square one. Actually, you'll be further back than square one, because the repercussions of not being able to pay your debts in Australia. Know your numbers. And when I talk about that, is understand your budget and understand the purchase price. So don't talk yourself out of buying a home. Understand if it is the right time for you and your family. You'll know that, not anyone else. But actually explore those details more and make sure that you are making those right decisions. Get the correct advice. So what I mean by that is go see a mortgage broker, go see the bank, go see a professional that's in that space. Don't listen to Uncle Tom down the road, or Johnny that bought a home back in 1993, because his way and how they bought a home back in the day is not the same as now. Back in the day, you used to, one way you could do is just apply for every bank at once, and at least one of them are going to approve. These days, you apply for 5 home loans at once, you're going to get declined from all of them, because they're going to be like, what's going on here? There's 5 applications at once. Get the right advice. Don't speak to Uncle Tom and Johnny down the road. And the last one is be realistic. So when you're purchasing a home, when you're looking for locations, when you're really knuckling down on what you actually want for yourself, be realistic. Don't buy that 800 square meter home with a massive 2-story, 800 square meter block on the massive 2-story home in the inner city suburbs when you can't afford it. Be realistic. And the other thing is, look around those surrounding suburbs to where you currently are right now. There's a lot of times where just moving 1 or 2 suburbs away from where you're currently living can save you anywhere from $50,000 to $100,000, just like that. So that's a wrap for today. I hope you got a bit out of it. Enjoy your Saturday. Thanks very much for tuning in, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.